This episode of SpectreSoundStudios is brought to you by AIX DSP.
To those who don't pay their sound tech, may the bridges that you burn behind you light up your way.
Hey everybody, welcome to SMG Viewers Comments, episode number 248. This is my weekly show where I try and answer your comments and questions to the best of my ability about recording, metal, and just all kinds of crazy shit. Anyway, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that fucking subscribe button, it would be greatly appreciated because it just goes and helps the show out and moves along and helps me do this for a living, and I can keep making these things. Anyway, let's skip the bullshit and get to the first question. First up, we've got a video question from my good friend Fluff.
Hello, Glenn. My question to you is this. Fuck, kill, marry. Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson, or Ozzy Osbourne? I look forward to your answer.
Oh, dude, talk about the impossible question. Fuck, kill, or marry. These are all guys, so I don't really swing that way, so I'm just gonna have to kind of answer none of the above. So fuck, no, definitely not happening. I would like to hang out with Bruce Dickinson for an afternoon sometime and just talk about vintage aircraft. I think that'd be fun because I know he's a total prop head. So am I. This show, SpectreSoundStudios, the studio Spectre Sound, is actually named after the AC-130 Spectre gunship, so there is that. Kill. I'm going to take a wild guess out of those three. I think Ozzy Osbourne is going to be the one who goes first, just mainly because of the abuse he's put himself through. And I think that's a real shame. He's a monster fucking talent, and it's going to be a serious loss when it does happen. But I hope he lives to be a very old man. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen. I know he's had some serious health issues as of recently, so get well soon, Ozzy. And Mary, again, just not happening. But Rob Halford is my absolute most favorite singer in the world, but definitely not marrying. Never. Just a word to the wise, if you are going to have your friends guest on your show, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
YouTube pro tip. If you know you're going to get copyright claimed, add in media from different companies. If multiple groups claim the video, no one gets the money.
Kirk, I wish you were right. Unfortunately, it really doesn't work that way. It's kind of like a first past the post kind of thing. My video, The Fans Deserve Better, not only got claimed, it got blocked last year there by Warner. And once I got it reinstated, Britney Spears record company swooped in and just stole all the earnings off that because I used like a 15-second clip of her amazing vocal tracks on the song Alien. So even though multiple companies have claimed that, I have still got fucked royally. So thanks, recording industry. You guys are so great.
Why don't we have a mic that can record an entire drum kit? I mean, you would lose the flexibility of processing every drum to minute detail, but it would be a great solution for home recording and would save a lot of time for a lot of people.
Well, dude, all you got to do is go put on a record from the 50s and you can hear exactly what drums sound like with one microphone. Go put on some of the stuff that was tracked at Sun Records back in the heyday, some early Elvis stuff and whatnot. They'd throw like one mic up, maybe two mics, and that'd be it. In fact, Matt Sorum, when he was tracking the drums for Velvet Revolver, George Martin was in the studio, and Matt asked him, hey, you know, I'd be really honored if you could mic up my kit. So George Martin walked in, set up two mics, one here, one here. Okay, there you go. Let her rip. Again, it's all about be careful what you ask for. You just might get it, because when you've got one or two mics up, it is up to the drummer to make those drums sound great. You'd better be on top of your game. And if you don't know what you're doing, don't even try. It's going to be a lot more difficult than you think it is. But then again, it might be a great learning opportunity if you take that one microphone and move it around the room until you find the sweet spot where the drums sound the best. It's definitely an exercise a lot of us can probably do and can be a real eye-opener. And yet another video question, this one from my extremely good friend Colin Scott from CS Guitars.
Hi Glenn, my question is about reamping. I do a lot of reamping here as it's very useful for getting A-B comparisons in gear demos, but I've noticed that the sound I get when reamping is never the same as when the guitar is going directly into the amplifier, even with all the same settings. I always feel that I need to bump up the gain on the amplifier to compensate, and it's never quite as lively. Is there some secret method of getting a reamped signal to sound just like a guitar output, or is it just some intrinsic magic to recording live in a room with an amplifier that's lost when you send the DI signal back at a later date?
Wow, what is it with you guys and reamping? That's 2 weeks in a row I've had a video question about reamping. First and foremost, I'm gonna say get rid of that Palmer reamp. As the almighty Vim Fuego once said, you can't amplify a fart with that thing. Seriously, not all reamp boxes boxes are created equal. I mean, like I used this one for years and years and it's okay, but again, you get that level drop with this thing. This is the Radial X amp, and it's like I said, it's just okay. I've had a bunch of different ones come in. I've got the Two Notes Torpedo Reload. That one's pretty good, but for some reason the reamp section on that died, and I'm still waiting to get it fixed, Guillaume. Anyway, right now I am using the Signal Art reamp. It's a totally passive design. It's designed by my very good friend Chad Kelly, who's also doing the United U47 mic, which I should be getting on the show sometime very soon. Chad builds just brilliant stuff. I'd love to show you guys this, but it's currently in the mail right now going down to California to my very good friend Alex, because we're doing some Lancaster stuff with it. So he needed it, so off it goes, and I have to put up with the Radial X amp. But if you have the means, yes, get the Signal Art reamp. It's passive. It is loud too. There's no signal drop. In fact, when Chad sent me his first version of it, I sent it back to him and said, make it louder. And he did. He actually custom designed the transformer for it, and it is fucking brilliant. You're not going to find a better reamp box on the market. So I'd say get one of those first, and you will definitely see a difference. Now, the signal drop thing is a very real thing that I think a lot of designers really don't take into account. Like I said, I've definitely had some reamp boxes that definitely weren't up to snuff. And I know Antelope did an interface there a couple of years ago with a couple of reamp outputs on them, and they were not good at all. So yes, buyer beware, be real careful, and do your homework before you drop money on a reamp box, because they are not the same. All right, everybody, this episode is brought to you by AIX DSP. They are a brand new software company, and they're designing some of the coolest tools ever for doing drum mixing. I've been working with them for the last few months, and I've just been getting absolutely stellar results like this. That's using the AIX multiband gate, the Intuition compressor, and the drum EQ all in tandem just across that mix, and those are all real drums, no samples whatsoever in that mix. Now, these are some serious studio tools, and the great thing about them is they won't break the bank. They go for $59.99 individually, or you can get the drum producer pack for $149 with all three plugins. Highly, highly, highly recommend them. I've been using them for the last couple months, and you guys have been hearing the results in my mixes. So if you're doing live drums and you want to get better at your mixes, follow the link in the description below and check out AIX DSP. They are absolutely stellar plugins. All right, back to the show.
Terrible fucking boomer ass or take and made him angry every second I acknowledge that this video was made.
Jordan, I'm confused. Why so upset? Because I dared suggest that maybe we should put people on records instead of enhancing them with computers like athletes enhance themselves with steroids?
Stealing software is just part of life, man.
And so is getting a job and becoming a productive member of society. You ever considered that? Okay, this next batch of questions was about last week's episode where I mixed Queensryche and never got paid. There's some really good questions in here, and I think they do need to be addressed. So here we go.
Why did you never sue them?
Why is that the fucking default everybody goes to? Oh, you should have sued them. You should have sued them. You should have sued them. The thing you need to take into account when you're talking lawsuits are two main factors. Number one, lawyers cost money to hire. You have to pay them to pursue a lawsuit. And number two, and this is really important, the person that you're suing has to have money. Now, I can take a wild guess and think that Cleopatra probably doesn't have a shitload of money kicking around, mainly because people don't really buy what they're selling. So, I mean, like, if that record made millions and millions and millions of dollars in sales, there might be a case to go after them. But in this case, no, not really, because I never even got a contract of any sort for my work. So it really wouldn't be worth it in the long run to expend all that time, all that energy, because lawsuits do take years to go through. And just for what? $200 maybe? $300 for 2 days work? Totally not worth it whatsoever. And I have to quote the film The Girl Next Door. Ask yourself this. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
First label-backed album I played on. I never got a copy to this day, never got a set in royalties to this day, despite things in writing and filling out forms for royalties specifically twice. And like here, I've had videos featuring that music for which I am credited as a songwriter get demonetized. No copy, no money, can't use. The triple insult. The only thing I can say is that I'm credited, so that's my consolation.
Ryan, that totally fucking sucks. People wonder why I say don't fucking deal with the music industry. It's cases like this where musicians just get completely fucked over and can't even use their own creations the way how they want to without somebody else, sneaking in there and just stealing the money away. It's just a bunch of bullshit.
I got screwed over by Infernal Majesty in the same way. I knew there was no money in it, but I didn't even get a few copies of the CD or a t-shirt. Both were offered beforehand.
Infernal Majesty was a Toronto band. I don't know how well they ever did. I've heard the name a few times, but I don't know if they've done anything notable. If anybody's a fan, hey, let us know in the comments below. But yeah, dude, that really fucking sucks. It seems to be a common tale here where people aren't getting paid for their work and fuck.
Been there, dude. I feel you. I've had quite a few mixes on major releases with zero credit and zero payment. Still waiting for payment from Sony BMG for a project in 2008. At a certain point, it just isn't worth the time and legal costs to go after them. Fuck the labels. I'm totally fine with a new way of music biz where artists can mostly record and promote themselves. Most of the work I've done for major labels over the last 25 years has mostly been a huge pain in the ass.
Again, I would totally agree. I always come back to the Steve Vai story where he said the most money he ever made on any record he ever played on was for his independent release, Flexible. Labels are just there to fuck over artists. I was on a panel discussion at AES Canada a couple years ago, and there was a bunch of industry engineers, and all these guys were definitely towing the party line. And it got to me, and I'm like, you don't need labels. My friends in Rest Repose, they broke the top 10 on iTunes and toured the US all independently with zero label backing whatsoever. All you got to do is just hustle. You just got to, do something people want to see. You got to make some cool music, but you got to be on it and get it done and make it happen. You absolutely don't need any kind of label support whatsoever. And these guys were just glaring at me like they wanted to fucking kill me. And I'm like, what? What are you guys so upset about? This is the new reality. You've got access as a musician to the entire world. All you got to do is just fucking go for it.
Hey Glenn, I've often heard said that more successful producers input creative elements into songs and often help a lot of the actual songwriting for more established bands, i.e. George Martin arranging the orchestral sections in Beatles songs. I personally don't rate my songwriting skills highly and am wondering if producing can be a good industry to enter. On a similar note, if I do something in the uni, would it be better to do a music technology or pure music degree? I've been watching the channel on and off over the past few years, so this is covered in another. Please direct it to me. Thanks.
Well, I've definitely helped a lot of artists who've come in kind of flesh out some ideas. I've definitely helped guys develop vocal harmonies and just arrangement things, muting certain instruments at certain time to create tension release, that kind of stuff. In some cases, I've helped guys do entire vocal melodies because what they came in really didn't work. We'll sit here and work shit out on an acoustic guitar and try that. So even if you aren't a really great songwriter or you don't have a lot of music skill, just being a second set of ears and making suggestions can really go a long way. I'm not a talented musician in any way, shape, or form, but I can definitely hear when something doesn't sound good and I can offer other ideas, and that's definitely worked to my advantage over the years. Do you need a university degree for that? Fuck no. I don't know if a music degree is going to help you or a music technology degree. Really doesn't matter to me. I mean, it really depends on you, the person, what you can do on your own once you get out of school. I don't even know if that piece of paper is really needed to be able to do any of that shit. I mean, seriously, if you think you're going to get a degree and just apply at a recording studio, it really doesn't work that way. Go intern somewhere for a while and sweep some floors because you'll get a way more fulfilling educational experience than you would at a music school.
Hey Glenn, I've been watching for a while now and I love the arsenal you have on terms of amp heads. I've had my Line 6 Spider Jam for about 10 years now, but I want to buy something that's less shit. I mean, tube and solid states, and I think tubes are the way to go, but what do you think I should look for? I've looked at EVH, PV, H&K, lane age, oil, angle, and a lot of them have the same specs, same tubes across 3 or 4 heads, huge power, etc., etc. But what would you really be looking for, especially to the point that's where you won't really find them much difference in the tone of them? Cheers and fuck you, Glenn.
Tom, I've said this a million times, especially for your first tube amp. Go look up a used 6505 or 5150. They're the exact same amp. They're just rebadged because Eddie Van Halen's contract with PV ran out. They make a wonderful metal tone. They're a wonderful studio workhorse, and you can get them for about $600-700 on the used market, and they're fucking stellar. Start with one of those.
Hey Glenn, what's your opinion on the Audio Assault amp sims? I've had a few now and just released a new version of the Rev. I've always seemed to get sounds that I like out of their plugins, and they are very affordable with great sales a lot of time. Was curious if you have tried any, and what do you think? Thanks, Glenn, and fuck right off, bud.
I'm gonna be doing a demo on their amp sims very soon. I think Audio Assault might be one of those hidden gem things in the amp sim world. Time will tell.
Great channel. Very unselfish of you to review lesser expensive gear, especially when you obviously have a substantial amount of high-end gear.
Gear doesn't have to be expensive to be awesome. You know, there's a lot of really cool, cheap stuff out there. Yeah, you were commenting on my review of the FMR really nice compressor. Fantastic piece of gear. The Art Pro VLA, fantastic piece of gear. It's only about $300. The DBX 160 XTs, great on kick drums. You can get those on the used market for about $350, $400. There's a lot of really killer shit out there. The new bargain piece of gear for me has got to be the Camden mic pre's from Cranbourne. I've been trying those out, and those go for about $400 each, and they're just fucking spectacular. So yeah, you don't have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on gear to get great results. Just watch this channel, because when I find out about the cool shit, I'm gonna let you guys know.
DistroKid's supper is trash. I don't know how you recommend them.
Well, I don't know about that. I've had supper with the CEO of DistroKid. We went to Beauty and Essex in New York City, and it was fucking amazing. Our friend Chef Brian So was working that night, and he honestly cooked us one of the best meals I've ever had in my entire life. I don't know what your experience was. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much for hitting that fucking subscribe button. It just goes a very long way into helping me out, and I am grateful to each and every single one of you. Thanks again to AIX DSP for sponsoring this episode. You got a comment or a question, leave it below. If it's cool, I'll try and put it in the show. And if you want to submit your question via video, I've got a link for that as well. Anyway, until next time, stay home, stay safe, wash your fucking hands, and we'll all get through this. Take care, everybody.